Meanwhile, political and economic crisis has taken over Sri Lanka for months, and now people are still queuing for hours to fill up their vehicle tanks in gas stations. Long lines of vehicles stretched outside fuel stations in Sri Lanka's capital, Colombo, on Thursday after curfew was briefly lifted. The debt crisis have left Sri Lankan people with severe shortages of fuel, food, and other essentials. Some residents say they have been through a week without kerosene. Anti-government protesters have been demanding the president and prime minister to step down over a debt crisis that has nearly bankrupted the country, led to the resignation of the Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. Meanwhile, five-time former Sri Lankan Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe was reappointed on Thursday in an effort to bring stability to the country. Sri Lanka's President Gotabaya Rajapaksa selected Wickremesinghe as an attempt to end violence and restore international credibility after months of economic and political crisis. Wickremesinghe convinced that he will work with both the opposition and governing party to find solutions.
In Buenos Aires, Argentina, thousands of activists march on demanding a government to renegotiate Argentine's national debt with the International Monetary Fund. Protesters joining the so-called Federal March have toured for 3 days across Argentina, making their demands, which also include more work and better income, to be heard across the country. Mainly blame the current situation that Argentina coped with acute poverty and accelerated inflation. And even Argentina needs more foreign funds. And government's last agreement with the IMF stated refinancing $45 billion to the country. This year's inflation is increased by 23.1%, and authorities reported an inflation back in March was at 6.7%, becoming the highest monthly inflation over the last 20 years.